settle in right
Hello,
now.
everybody.
Making
Welcome.
sure that it's up on the streaming
Talking
side.
about bypassing today. How do we bypass the core, the center, the root, so that we can truly be happy? So that we can clean up any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome everybody. To Get Resource with Summer and Andre, where we talk about anything around relationships to self, source, and others. And the term resource is about resourcefulness. Instead of outsourcing, we resource within ourselves, right? We have the tools, the capability to reconnect with ourselves, and then from there live a life from the inside out and enjoy all the gifts that comes with it, right? So
Mhm.
first want to open up with what's alive in you right now, Summer.
Um, I don't have as much energy as I usually do, so I'm feeling a little depleted. That's what's alive in me. Otherwise, I'm feeling excited for spring.
Mm.
What is alive in you, Mr. Dre, today? And welcome, Alondra. Hey, or Elizabetha. Oh, I'm so glad you could come. She's in the hospital right now. Yeah, I'm
Welcome,
glad you're able to
Elizabeth.
tune in. Yeah.
Yeah, what's alive in me is some more spaciousness, calmness. Um, yeah, yeah, it's more ease in my system. My nervous system is more relaxed in than the days previously. So I'm noticing the different energetic signature with that.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Mm. So what are we talking
Ease.
about today?
I think we decided on bypassing, going around the center, the root
Mm.
of what people need to look at. We talk about relationships. So, how do we bypass things that we need to grow, to learn, to live our best life? And why do we do that?
Mm. Yeah. Why do we do that? Well, I find it as a avoidance strategy, whether that's be conscious or unconscious. Um, well, what is the definition of bypassing, Summer?
Well, as I looked it up, bypassing means to go around a town or its center, a secondary channel, pipe, or connection, to go past or around, to avoid something, to go around it. That is what it means. Yeah. And when we don't acknowledge
Mm.
our needs or the needs of others, and they continue to be unmet, specifically in terms of relationships. Yeah,
Mm.
that's what I found.
Yeah, avoiding what needs to be truly addressed.
Yeah. hmm So, how do we know
Mm.
what needs to be truly
The
addressed?
Yeah, it's more that underlying issue, right? The root issue.
hmm How do we know what that is?
Mm. Well, welcome, Tracy. You are alive, a bit anxious, going okay. Great for you to be
Hey,
here.
Tracy.
Mm. Yeah. So how do we know? How do we know if I'm bypassing or not, huh? Besides someone maybe calling that out in me, that I'm avoiding the issue. I don't know, I'll speak for myself. I know when I'm bypassing is is when the same thing keeps happening over and over again.
Yeah.
And um, I'm doing all the work to try to resolve it, but it keeps showing up. So maybe I'm not going deep
Mhm.
enough. Um, what's more what's more alive in me is this feeling of feeling sad. I remember feeling sad or depressed, and I didn't like that feeling. And so would force myself to listen to, hype music, watch motivational speeches to pump me up, distract myself in video games, go to the gym,
Oh,
move the energy, move the body. So at the time, it was more of like I just want to feel good, and and to me that was innocent. Like, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, and, I heard a saying, "The opposite of depression is expression." So let's move the body, let's dance, let's go out and do things and move that energy, right? And even times where I would have negative thoughts and I would affirm myself, "I am worthy, I am enough, I am prosperous, I am rich, I'm booming, I am blooming, I'm abundant." I would kind of repeat that over and over again, or I would use certain incantations to clear my energy field, to set a protection ring around me because I was feeling off, right? And I did that just to make myself feel better.
Mm.
But looking back now, and I still catch myself in those patterns. Um, I judge it to be a form of bypassing because I'm not really allowing what is coming up within my internal experience to be really felt without the judgment. I'm judging it as being wrong. It made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do with it. There was this judgment of like, I shouldn't feel sad. I shouldn't feel depressed. I should be happy. I should be fine about it. Should, right? Should.
Mm.
And so I forced myself into that using, positive psychology, affirmations, repeating over and over again to be in that positive mindset. And there's power to it. There's power to looking at things from a positive point of view. And I'm not like wanting to get rid of that tool. Like it's a powerful tool. Though where it gets in the way is it avoids me looking at the root issue, right? And so this realization that I had, hey Chris, welcome brother. Great to have you here with us, man. Oh, okay. Anyways, um, it was this idea that I'm dysregulated. So I'll do my activities, let's say do a cold shower or breath work, right? And that gets me back to a regulated state. Now, here's the thing. If I didn't revisit the thing that caused me to be dysregulated, then in a way I'm avoiding it, and I'm using breath work and cold showers as a way to bypass, right? So my shift now is more of, okay, you know what? For me to work with what's going on underneath here, am I better resourced? And can I also, when I share this with others, give them a softer landing? What I mean by this is I could have unbridled self-expression, right? And then if it concerns them, then they're taking the hits, right? They got to hold space for me. But what if I came into that interaction more regulated, more resourced, more conscious? So then let's say I use breath work, cold shower, the gym to get myself back into alignment with conscious awareness. And then I have the conversation around what triggered me. Why did I feel sad? Why did I feel angry? Right. And it's always best for me to have the conversation soon because it's active. I remember, I'm able to recall, it's not blurry. And so I'm able to, in a way, hold that part of me that is sad or depressed or angry and be able to observe it and see where it comes from. And that's very healing because once I have the awareness, then it becomes integrated, you know? I'm like not in the experience, but it's like I'm aware of my experience and I'm expressing my experience at the same time. And Kirk breath work, yeah, breath work is using my breath to regulate my nervous system. And so let's say I'm hyperactive, right? I'm so freaking angry. I can use my breath as the gas pedal to slow down my activation, to slow down my trigger by using a down regulation breath. So breathing slower, right? And inhale in, very slow and deep, and then the exhale being longer than inhale. So that's a down regulation breath, calming my nervous system. But let's say I'm in depressed state. I'm kind of like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, right? The depressed kind of donkey. Then I can use my breath to activate, to bring energy into my by breathing quicker, like Wim Hof, and activating breath to bring more energy into my system so that I disrupt my homeostasis to create more conscious awareness. So yeah, I know I went on a little journey there,
You did. It's good because
right?
my computer was about to die, so I had to go get my cord. So it's good.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Okay. So that's how I kind of brought it together there. My evolution, if I were to summarize it, is when I felt sad, uncomfortable. just unpleasant feelings,
Yep.
I would numb myself because I didn't want to feel it. And the
Yep.
reason why I didn't know what to do with it and I judged it for being wrong, or I'll go to the gym, right?
Right.
No. But then when I come back, I would never deal with what caused me to be sad or depressed or angry. So that was a bypass.
Right.
Ta-da! Now,
Mm-hmm.
the next step is okay, I'm not gonna bypass. When I'm angry, I'm gonna be fucking angry. When I'm sad, I'm gonna be sad, emo. Okay, okay. But then when I'm so in the experience, right? And if it cannot be held, if someone is not able to take the hits and they judge me for it, I'm gonna be further entrenched.
Yeah.
So there's no wisdom because I'm in the experience and I can't see.
Huh.
So the third evolution is for me to go to the gym, cold shower, breath work. Here's the difference. When I'm more regulated, when I'm more conscious, revisit that experience and then process that experience and even better with someone. And now they
Mhm.
can hold it easier because I'm not totally in the experience and throwing the hits. It comes from a more responsible place. Yeah.
Right. Interesting you say that because I find actually with clients that when they're so dysregulated, it's easier for them to process the information if they have someone that can help them process it through Inside Out or IFS, internal family systems, that kind of thing, because the energy is so alive. There's nothing there repressing it, suppressing it, or bypassing it. It's just fresh for people to really experience and explore.
Mm,
And energy moves on its own. I always like to use Einstein. Energy can't be created or destroyed. So when it's so highly actively charged, it's ready just to transform with as little of our own mental or emotional energy as we need because it's already there. I think of triggers and emotionality as energy that's saying, "Hey, I'm right here. Can I move? Can I change now instead of you keeping me stuck or repressed or whatever that is? I'm here to tell you a story of why I exist." But I think there's so many other ways we bypass too. I love your numbing. Sometimes we do cold breath to regulate our nervous system, but we don't get to the bottom, the core reason for why we're dysregulated. So the possibility of being triggered again is still really active. But I notice a lot of spiritual people, oh, well, I'm just about the light. I don't want to be about the dark. I'm going to, say prayers and do all these things, which are great. It's kind of like reminds me of the book, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. I had a friend once say, "Oh, I'm done with the dark. I just want everything to be light." And I was like, you know, it's actually um, the nature of light to cast a shadow on something in the way. You put something in the way of the sun, it creates a shadow on the other side. You can't bypass that. It's impossible. It's the nature of whatever it is that we're doing. Um, so it's exciting to know that we can get at the core of what's dysregulating our nervous systems just by being present to it. Not
mm,
by judging it, not by thinking we have to do something to it. And I think this is where I think the danger has been in the past that people get stuck in it. We judge ourselves. People are often labeled as toxic or have different diagnoses. And I think the diagnoses itself, well, as Marshall Rosenberg says, it's a tragic and suicidal expression of what's alive in us. And the core of what's alive in us is what allows us to heal. And what's my point in that? My point is that as we judge things, I think the judgment in itself is a bypass for getting at the core of why we're experiencing what we're experiencing.
mm,
If we can actually remove judgment, which is tricky, the English language, and go right to the direct felt experience or the energy of it, it's the core.
mm.
Anything else to me is a bypass,
Mm. That
really.
makes sense to me.
Anything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking to, hey, Sarah, you cannot appreciate the light without the
Hey,
darkness.
Sarah.
Hey, Nate, good day. Yeah. So speaking to that part where you're like, I agree about when I'm in it, when I'm triggered, and if someone can hold that space for me, um, I'm able to move through it quicker because I do have the awareness and the tools to move through it. And it's like it's the most active. It's like right here, right? And it's so fresh and alive. It's like, ooh, it's juicy.
Hmm.
And it's more to that, like there's skills involved and discernment of knowing how to hold that because there's
Yeah.
transference as well, right? If I'm judging, it's being felt in the field. And I also agree that anything else is a bypass when compared to going into my like direct felt experience, right? And just looking at my journey, um, even even my deep desire to understand concepts, to make
Mm.
sense of it. Like, tell me the psychological term. Tell me what's happening right now. Give me some definitions. I want to get this, right? And that can be a form of bypassing.
Hmm.
Though it puts my mind at ease. Once my mind has that recognition of why it makes sense, it can relax. It's not as defensive to allow me to go into my direct felt experience. Because when I'm
Yeah.
like, Why are you asking me to breathe into this and ask me what am I noticing in my body right now? This makes me so uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
as a rational person, I'll be like, Why are we doing this? This is stupid. Let's talk about it. Just give me the strategy. Just give me the top 3 things I need to do, and I'm done. Like, I don't why would you wanna tell me what I'm feeling and eating right now? This is stupid. Because my
Yeah.
mind's judging it, right? So for me, it's a process of, like, understanding the concepts and then practicing the concepts and then embodying the concepts to then eventually get to a place where I just drop in
Hmm.
easily because my mind's on board because it knows, it experiences why this is so powerful of being in my essence. Though it's a stair step for me, right? To eventually get there, get there.
Yeah, I agree with you that the mind has to have some capacity of understanding to feel safe in doing it because
Yes.
it's definitely not in our culture to get into the direct felt experience, the energetic. Okay, I've got this sense in my body, this feeling in my body. We're taught to just kind of make it go away. We'll take a Tylenol or we'll um and the word I and I know we said this once before, I can't remember what restream we're on, but we the bottom line is that we cannot think our way out of something we felt our way into. It's a feeling world, it's a feeling universe. If we need to manifest something, we can't just say, oh, I really want a whatever bike, car, new girlfriend. Unless we're feeling the energy of that, nothing is manifested. Everything is about feeling. And you're right. The rational mind doesn't see the point of feeling. And I think this has almost been a trick. Um, we become really good workers. We become, you know, busy, busy, busy doing without being. And then we wonder why 80% of people are on antidepressants or how many addictions there are and how much alcohol people use because we're not used or comfortable with feeling.
Yeah. I associate feelings with problems. Like, come on, just do your job. Right? It's like, tough it out, man. Like, why are we talking about this? Let's just push forward, right? I came from that paradigm. Like, it gets in the way of things getting done. And there's a part of me
Mhm.
that's kind of frustrated where I'm like, okay, why are we like hanging around here in the judgments, like singing kumbaya? Let's go. Guys, come on, let's get this done. We got this, and let's take care of it, right? And so when I think about it like now, if I if I was in a session where I'm talking about my life and trying to piece things together, there's a okay, there's a realization that it's a bypass. I can definitely over intellectualize and try
Mhm.
to understand things to avoid addressing the root emotional issue in my body or the past history because it's safe for me to think about it in my head, right? Though at the same time, it's also a process for me, like you said, becoming safe with the process. If I allow that, if I recognize, wait a minute, if I have the awareness, then I'm growing. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Mhm,
I'm talking
mhm.
about the same thing and I'm going in loops and I'm avoiding the conversation, then maybe that's an obvious bypass. But there's also weight to talk therapy, to talking it out loud. Because for me, I get a lot of insights when I speak out loud and I connect the dots and I get the awareness. And once I have the awareness, I'm like, then I've kind of moved forward a bit, you
Right.
know?
But and here's the danger of that. Ever talk to someone and they loop in a story over and over again? "Oh,
Yes, absolutely.
I just got a
Um,
DUI. Oh, I'm so unfortunate. Oh, darn, I'm just unlucky. Oh, isn't this the 3rd or the 4th time you've got a DUI? I wonder why. Hmm."
so that's the pattern recognition that I really yearn to have, to be around men and women, people, when they can see me show up in my story
Mhm.
and it doesn't change. Because I can be aware of it, right? But then my results don't change, right? Again, it's up to me to change the patterns, change habits, do something different. But can someone point that out to me? Because sometimes I trick myself, right? I lie to myself that I see this, and someone could say, "Hey, Dre, I noticed in the last 4 sessions you said this and you wanted this, but today you still have this. What's going on?" Like, oh, sometimes I can't see myself in that. So that pattern interrupt, I value that pattern interrupt. But the danger is coming back to my head and getting lost again, 100%.
Yep.
Because it's a tangle knot, and I can talk my way in circles, and the mind has a beautiful way of rationalizing and making sense of things and being right, to keep me safe. So I got to realize that. I'd be like, oh, my mind is doing. Okay, do I want change? Do I want support? Okay, okay. Tell me what I need to do. And then maybe I'm more receptive to you guiding me into my direct felt experience now.
Yep. I think this is one of the prime things that our education doesn't allow us to do, and that is to venture into the unknown. I like Chris said, healing isn't a to-do or a checklist. What I do say to people is that it's following the energy trail.
Mm,
And this is where it becomes so much simpler not to bypass is by sitting in what we're experiencing now, being present. Okay, what's alive right now? And for a lot of people, it's super hard to get out of the head going, well, this is dumb. Oh, well, this twinge in my body has nothing to do with the fight or the emotion I had yesterday. Like, there's no connection. But as people follow the energy trail and they're just immersed in what they're experiencing, it actually takes them on a movie, a felt journey experience all on their own. It's kind of like, a lot of people are doing psychedelics or ayahuasca or all of those things. Inside Out or IFS or direct felt experience is about that same universal thread of information. If anyone's watched the movie The Fantastic Fungi, where all the threads and the mycelium interconnect, as human beings, we also have this information highway in what you might call the feel or the universal realm of consciousness. None of us are taught to do it because we're taught to be busy and to bypass everything. And as we have mirrors like Dre to me or other women, and we sit in our experience to experience it without judgment, there's a couple of things that happen. One is we realize we're not alone. Two, we realize the nature of how our body conduit works, that energy is constantly moving, switching, changing, and forming us until we judge it. The instant we want to make it go away, the instant we want to do something other than it's actually doing, we repeat. We make the same mistake over and over again. And so, what we aren't taught is how to venture into the unknown with a sense of curiosity, with a sense of adventure. We watch movies, all those adventure movies and things like that, and we think it's exciting. When it comes to our own life, we're like, oh, I want to be comfortable and I want to be safe. I'll go to this spiritual thing, but I don't really want to make any significant changes in my life because it's too scary. It's too scary. I don't want to look at it. So in my life, art therapy, looking at a blank canvas, because whenever we want to do something new, and that's one of Einstein's saying too, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is insanity, right? So how do we start to explore new experiences and know what it's like to venture into the unknown with a sense of faith and trust that we can get at the core of what's most in alignment for us in our relationships, in our life, in our livelihood, and live out this life in a way that feels joyful, that lowers the fear factor, that just opens us up to possibilities.
Mhm. Yeah, meaning, purpose, fulfillment, health, wealth, like that exists like in my inner experience and all that energy. Like it's like if I bypass it and I'm bypassing the blockages, right? Like we're talking about spring cleaning. If I'm bypassing washing the pipes of my own inner experience, then it's still going to get clogged up and I'll recreate that same experience over and over again. And I love how Chris mentioned like the important piece is to bear witness, right? We didn't become
Mm.
traumatized on our own. Goes back to like, born in relationship, hurt in relationship, we heal in relationship. And there's something potent, there's something magical about me being in this process, being guided by someone else or being witnessed by others in this container. It automatically shifts. Like there's a saying, what is not witnessed or connected to cannot be healed.
It's true. Whatever we can't acknowledge, we can't admit. What is it in AA? There's a saying that is it acknowledgement is the first step to uh, you have to see yourself before any change can be made. If I don't know that I am interrupting someone else's experience, how can I change that? What did I say? Amen.
Amen, brother.
So, yeah, awareness is the first step and to being open to that. And I know for one, when I'm around other people who are open and vulnerable, I can see myself in them. And I'm more easily able to access my own humanity and what doesn't support others, and therefore what doesn't support myself. I think we're often a little too isolated. And I think actually our work lives, our busy lives, our material accumulation kind of thing in the Western world is, and traveling outside, traveling's fun. I love to travel, go to different places. But I think we underestimate the power of traveling inside. There is such an adventure to looking within. There are so many areas and pockets of universal design and relationship that is so meaningful that we don't even have to go anywhere to get it. It's here. We come home to this place that is so, like you said, Dre, rich, wealth, health, emotions, abundance, joy. It's in us. We actually can't get it outside until we fostered what is created from within. So that's exciting. What is Chris
Mm.
saying here? Step one, in AA says, admit we were powerless and that made our lives unmanageable. Okay, so First step is acknowledgement.
Mm, yeah. Mm, yeah. Now, the acceptance piece. And there's another moment, yesterday where I got triggered. Um,
When was that? I don't remember.
yeah. Well, it was about like, posting in the fun
Oh,
find
okay.
out
Yeah.
group chat, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And I for me, I wasn't conscious enough to be aware of the intentions of that group. I was more excited about, hey, let's put the word out
Hmm.
to ask for support. And this is another realm where, oh, there's a whole bunch of people here we know, and I thought I'd put the call out, right?
Hmm.
And then you chatted with me about your feelings around that, and it made sense. And so makes sense now. Though in the moment, it was more like, oh, shame on me. I didn't realize this. And I judged myself to be incompetent. I also judged myself for being cringy.
Mm.
As you said, that word, right? That came into my consciousness. And so, okay. So then I created another text. And then you came back with a suggestion on what that text should be or would be better off be. And then yeah, that activated me. I got annoyed because no, my judgment is I was being controlled.
My
And
judgment might have been I was being controlling because I was so anxious about what was put in there. So yeah, I would, yep.
yeah, and it felt like I was walking on eggshells, or I judged that I couldn't do anything right. And
Mm.
so there's a trigger for me where if I make a mistake,
Yeah.
okay, but if it continues in the same realm, it's like I give up. I'm like, what's the point? I don't want to do it anymore, right? And that
Right.
was yesterday. So my normal avoidance strategy is to avoid talking about it. So let's say, yeah, I did get triggered, but then we didn't talk about it immediately after about it, right? I didn't acknowledge it. You felt it, right?
Yep.
And you regulated, you went on your way, and then eventually I got back to myself and we went on our way. But that's another form of bypassing, is that I'm noticing myself where when there's disconnect and triggers in the moment, yeah, something happened. And let's say I mistreated you based on my reaction and my energy, because abuse can be energetic through my judgment, right? And my
Yeah. Some
tone,
people don't think that way,
and
right?
it's
Some people
sharp.
like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So in a way,
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's a mistreatment. It's not life giving. It's not life serving, right? Okay, mistreating is a judgment, though it's not life giving, life serving. It's life taking. So we went to Superstore, and I moved through that energy. Eventually, we come back, and it kind of right the ship was right. Like it came back on track. So I can usually say that, like, okay, we're good. I'm going to sweep it underneath the rug, but actually, it's not good.
Mm.
I even had the thought of like, okay, I did this, and I didn't own my part, and I didn't hear how did it affect you, or hear or come to a resolution. So I'm realizing now I bypassed for the sake of avoiding conflict, for the sake of rocking the boat and not bringing it up again, and I'll just move on. But what happens is that it builds up because that thing is still there. And then let's say another incident happens. We get to a conflict, and then somehow it rights its ship without the resolution of it or the acknowledgement of it. It's like, if I've been mistreating you and I'm not acknowledging it, it builds up. It builds up as resentment. Perhaps I judge you're resentful. And then I judge myself where I'm embarrassed and ashamed,
Mm.
but I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. So, yeah, I want to bring that up because I can see that happening. I can see
Do you
that
still
easily
feel?
happen.
Because for me, I really don't have any attachment to that. So are you still like going,
No,
oh,
no, I'm actually over it now. Like I
oh,
checked in with myself. I'm like, oh wow, it's all good. It's interesting how I view it is like, meh. It's like the time where I was triggered coming onto this call and you helped me process it. And after the fact, I was feeling embarrassed and I wanted to delete it.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like how I wanted to delete the text from yesterday, but I decided to leave it because I value transparency. If I delete the message, then people saw this message, they couldn't connect it, right? So I'm like, it's okay. But then there was still a part of me that was embarrassed about it and wanted to clean up
Yeah.
the evidence, wanted to delete it and move on. But then I'm really robbing myself and others, if I were to judge, of that ownership of that experience, right? So I left it. And then this morning I woke up, I'm like, I didn't have any charge. I'm like, oh. And it's interesting that there's two versions of myself in that moment of how I perceived the incident, the text.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting, because I think in so many ways people are embarrassed about something that they do, so then they try to hide it. And people around them then aren't gifted with the experience of truth and how people work
Mm,
and what
yes.
actually goes on for other people. And then we're just trying to hide things instead of experience the outcome and take the lesson from it, or to experience more of our own truth and authentic interactions with others. I guess, I mean, there's a big fear of not belonging, being chastised, cast out, judged, all of those things. Um,
Yeah. Because if I'm feeling embarrassed, then I'm leaving out details
yeah,
to protect myself, to make myself look a certain way.
yeah,
And as a result, I rob myself and others of the human experience.
yeah, yeah. This is where, I mean, in our culture, I think we're very finger pointy and judgmental versus accepting our universal human experience. And I think this is shifting as we start to be able to hold space for each other and really honor our own internal experience without casting that out on others. I think the world becomes a very toxic and dangerous place when we're telling others what they should do, what we think they ought to do, all of these things without acknowledging our own behaviors, what we're feeling, and learning how to regulate our nervous system, but also to get at the root of why we have these negative charges. And I think you said at the beginning, how do I know when I'm bypassing? I think the answer is negatively charged feelings. When I'm not feeling good, when I don't have life serving energy running through my body, when I'm afraid, when I feel guilt, shame, we're bypassing and we're not accessing the wealth, the health, the joy that you said, all that stuff that's actually also available within us.
Hmm. That's interesting because I'd love for you to expound on that because it hasn't landed in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, let's say I'm feeling angry,
Yeah.
and you're saying that's bypassing. Um,
Uh, mm, Oh, okay. So what you're saying, yeah, I wouldn't say anger itself is bypassing.
hmm,
I would say we take it out on someone else. We go get a beer to numb ourselves from that anger.
okay, so it's my actions, right? Like it's my actions that are not being present, taking me away from being present with that feeling from my own, from my side of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I own that within me? What's happening in my inner experience that's causing me to feel angry? And Marshall simplifies it by saying there's a need that's not being met. So I just look at the need sheet and pick it out. I don't need to think about it too much. Because I'd be like, oh, okay, what's making me angry? And I go into a story, right? So the beauty of nonviolent communication is, oh, I just pick a need. Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. And then I
You're right.
can, okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I said the negative emotion is actually bypassing, but it's what we do with those negative emotions, or what we
Right.
try to do with them versus to experience what we need behind it.
Yeah. So what I hear is simplicity is being present in my body. Can I be present in my body of what's happening right now when I'm triggered, activated? If I go into my mind and tell a story, that is bypassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before, I didn't think that was bypassing. I thought that was I'm thinking about the problem. I'm understanding it. I'm solving it. I'm analyzing it. How is that bypassing? I'm solving a problem here. So what would you say to that? If someone comes to you, "Hey, Summer, that's not bypassing because I'm coming up with a solution."
Yeah, well, there's different layers of solutions. I love there's a book called Cultures of Healing, and or there's another one that I love a lot. It's called The Harebrained Tortoise Mind. So our culture, which comes from the Industrial Revolution, which is, massive manufacturing and processing, and then the information age is like, okay, give me all this information, and I'll just take it all in and give me the answers, and I want to solve the problem. And for logical linear problems, for building a bridge, for certain things, it makes a lot of sense. But for emotional issues, for relational issues, for spiritual issues, sometimes we're not asking the right question in the first place. We actually don't know the nature of the problem. And so sometimes the slower modes, just like harebrained tortoise mind, the tortoise wins the race. We might think, okay, my husband doesn't come home for dinner and he's always late. Okay, I'm going to pick him up so that he can come home right on. Well, maybe that's not the problem. Maybe the problem is more that, it could be any number of things. He's not able to process because his brain is slower and he's taking 20 minutes longer during his work because he doesn't have enough protein in his diet. Our constant conceptualization of what we think a problem is half the problem. Physical illness, for example, a lot of people think, oh, well, here's the physical reality. And you go to a doctor and they say, okay, one issue only, please. And they don't think that the emotional aspect or the stress that happened the day before has anything to do with their problem. So how do you see a bigger picture rather than this tiny pinprick? It's like that old age thing. Everyone talks about the elephant. The elephant, well, it's like the tail, it's like the trunk, it's like the leg.
Mm,
So how do you experience a bigger picture? And I believe, and I know for myself, it's about following the energy trail in our body because it gives us more information energetically about patterns. Because often our questions are only about one part of one pattern versus the bigger picture of repeating patterns. And I think that's where
mm,
getting to the core is easier
mm,
energetically through the body because we see
mm.
patterns versus one small part, which the logical mind is only focused on.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see myself having the blinders on and having tunnel vision or
Mm.
making an assumption and focusing on the wrong problem. And it also depends on what question I'm asking. But if I'm going to my direct experience, then it's what's truly alive with me in this moment right now, which can be tracked and changed moment by moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we had an experience yesterday. We do something called sacred mirror practice in the Soul Truth Discovery Academy and Empowered Empath Academies. And Naomi, she's been on, she had a few different pictures of different relationships with people, and it was all coming up at once. You ever had that experience where, you lose your job, you have this, your wife, and you can't quite make sense of why all of these things are happening at once? But there's usually an energetic imprint that ties them together.
Mm,
And your mind, as hard as you can try to figure it out, it becomes elusive until you go into the direct felt experience. And then often images and metaphors and these types of spontaneous insight comes to mind to, oh, that's what it is. It comes down to this imprint within me, usually a belief system I'm not good enough, or something energetically that's creating these experiences in our life. And when crisis starts to happen and multiple things start to happen, it means there's changes on a deep energetic level. And if we can really embody and take in the repressed emotions and the different things that have accumulated to this crisis point, we get so much insight and so much value. We get to have a new
Mm.
experience of life altogether. I don't know if that makes
Mm.
sense. That's what I've seen.
I see it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because in a way, it helps like untangle all the knots. Because I can find myself when I'm in my head, it's very confusing to follow the trail, the rabbit trail. It's easy for me to get lost, but then I've experienced where I've been guided into my inner world and just noticing what's happening. It creates more clarity. It's like I don't allow like I'm not thinking about it too hard to make sense of it. There's a knowing that comes through it, as if like the intuition comes up and gives me the answer that connects the dots.
Yeah, it's that same thing. People are like, "Oh, I'm trying to remember this person's name," and then you forget about it and you do whatever you're doing. And, "Oh, I remember." It's like when we try too hard, the answers become elusive.
Yeah,
And so
I
it's
experienced
this,
that.
yeah, this skill of being present to what is. I mean, there's lots of teachers. Eckhart Tolle, that's, I mean, the power of his book, The Power of Now. We
Mm.
can't change the past or predict the future, but we can time travel to the past and the future through experience what is alive in us right now and what we're experiencing. Because energy is carried through all points in time. And the only way we have access to it is in the present moment.
Mm. Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing because I'm on my mind, right? I'm all these different parts of myself, multiple personalities, and there's a higher self in there, and it's like it's really navigating a family, like, and
Yeah,
and
it's true.
and who's driving the magic school bus, right? At this time. Yeah, because it's so easy for one part of me to take over and just this is it. This is how it should be. And when I start creating room for all these different parts, it can be overwhelming for me because then I feel like there's an inner conflict. There's a tug of war going with me. There's a split, and it leaves me it leaves me anxious because there's a belief that I'm not in control. Where
Yeah.
am I going with this? I need to drive the bus here. Why do I need to give space for all these parts? It's like we're heading on a road trip and we're stopped on the side for a bio break, right? And it should be only be like a 5-minute bio break, but we're taking 20 minutes. And I'm like, come on, guys, where's everybody? And there's a part of me
Mhm.
that's like, come on, go, 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 taking me out of that process, right? Taking me out of that direct felt experience. So um it's like a smorgasbord and being able to have the self-mastery to navigate all of that to come to that awareness for the highest and best good of Andre.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. There are different voices, when people meet resistance in themselves, when there's a sense of fear and terror that usually, comes from really young ages or past lives. But if we can get to the basis of truth of, again, that unknown piece, that whenever we go into the resistance and the fear, that it actually comes out better than what we were thinking, and we can have that experience over and over again, it develops a lot of um, trust that that higher self, that the universe, that universal life force energy that runs through all of us actually does have our best interest in mind, that
Mm.
life wants life, and we don't have to
Yeah.
be afraid of life. So I think there's a core thread that ties the family, our inner family, together, and that's source. It's God. It's trusting how we all came to be here in the first place. We all came here from the same place. We all
Hmm.
have this electromagnetic current that goes through our body. Where does that come from? And people who have ever experienced someone's death know there's the body is not the person.
Well, here's a question. because we're talking about bypassing. And it's like the more I know about this stuff, the more I can use that stuff to bypass. So
It's
how do
true.
I, right? So it gets tricky and it
Yeah.
becomes very challenging to notice that am I bypassing? Like who's actually driving the bus right now? Yeah. And I know when I'm talking about this, it's like hmm, a part of me that's making sense. It's making meaning. It's connecting the dots, right?
Hmm.
Um, and there's this understanding. Okay, okay. But then when I go about my day, it's like how often do I check in with myself of like who's driving right now? And so, what would you say is a practice or a suggestion or a strategy to like really, hey, am I bypassing right now? Like, or to really know who's driving the bus?
So you say when I'm bypassing, do you mean am I missing the opportunity to be living my best life in this moment?
Yeah,
Another way
yeah.
of saying that?
Because the moment is every second, and it can be I judge exhausting to just sit here and be like checking in with myself every minute. I'm not gonna get any work done,
No, of course not. Hilarious.
right? So it's like it's very fluid. It's like it's an art. It's like this
Well,
discernment of
you talk about it all the time. I like how you like it, and we compare it to the car battery, right? Like there's a GPS system in the car. The car engine light doesn't go on very often. It's when the car engine light goes on, pay attention. But for some reason, we're so much better with cars, and we take it to the maintenance shop, and as human beings, we're like,
well,
oh.
because a car is simple. It's complicated, but it's logical and it's right there. Check engine light. And the check engine light makes sense because there's a series of things, signals that led to that. But then they to see myself, it's like I need to watch a movie of myself. And I'll be like, Dre, don't, watch, there's a hole there. Walk around it. And I walk into the hole because I can't see it, right? I can't, it's like going back to like, it's really hard to see myself because I'm in myself. It's like as if I need to see myself from a third person, and then it becomes clear. Oh my god, it's pretty obvious. Like, and that's why like we're meant to do this together. We're meant to be the mirrors for each other. Because if I'm doing this work myself, I'm bypassing because I'm convincing myself, man. Holy crap, that's the realization just have right now.
Yeah, actually, yeah. A lot of people do it alone. They isolate themselves. They're bypassing because we're a species. We're an organism together. It reminds me of Avatar, how they're so aware of their interconnectedness. And you're right. I think that that's like a quote right there. If we're doing work on our own, we're spiritual bypassing. We're bypassing because you can't see how you're connected to everybody else and how you belong and how important you are to the rest of the thread of humanity if you're doing it by yourself and you're not
Yeah.
helpful.
And I can't be called on my lie because I can convince myself that I'm not bypassing. I can convince myself that I'm doing the work.
You convince yourself of anything.
Anything to keep
Oh.
myself. And maybe someone tells me, "Hey, you should be more humble, Dre." Should, right? Okay, I'm humble. I'm humble. But that could be like a mechanism to protect myself to tell people, "Hey, lay off. I'm humble." Right? Like, am I truly humble? Well, like it's got to be based on my actions and my innermost attitude. God, source creator, truly knows I'm humble in my heart, right? But I can tell myself that, and people are like, they can believe whatever they want to believe. But yeah, it's only when
Well,
I'm in community, when I'm working with others, that I can see the fruit of my labors. I can see the impact I have on other people. If I'm truly humble, people will feel it and they'll come up to me and share their experience of me.
mhm.
Ah, versus me telling myself that, right? That's a bypass.
Actually, you know what's people are into meditation. I forget his name. I saw him. He had a very funny show. He was a Burmese monk for 20 years. I'm forgetting his name, but I went to see his comedy show. And he did say, you know what? You can go climb a mountain all you want. You can feel happy and peaceful, or you can think that you're that way. And you go back into town, into the culture, all those other parts of you start to waken back up. And
Hmm.
one thing he said, because that's what they do, they meditate, like almost they eat, sleep, meditate. He says, what I learned from that experience of 20 years of being a Burmese monk is that meditation can be as much of an addiction as anything else. In other
Hmm.
words, meditation can be bypassing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. I'm elevated. I'm a monk on the top of a mountain. I'm better than everybody else. But then you have no social skills or whatever else it takes to actually be a part of mankind.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything can be bypassing, can it? Like anything can be used as a
Yeah.
bypass.
Yeah, anything really. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I'm seeing myself getting lost of trying to understand it, and I'm bringing myself back home of being I don't need to.
No.
Where I can simplify it is like check in with myself. What am I feeling? If I'm feeling positively charged feelings, then my needs are met, and what needs of mine are met. And if, like Chris said, he can tell with his heart, right? Is his heart fully open or not? And
Ah,
that's a check in, right? If I'm going about my day and I'm feeling irritated, I'm feeling tight. Ooh, there's some data. Let's check
that
in.
makes it super simple, isn't it? Am I open or closed? Is my heart
That's it.
open or closed to everybody else around me or not?
That's it.
Simple.
That's it. That's all that matters. I don't know. That's my judgment. That's all that matters. Because now I can get into uh, like this intellectual discussion that feeds my intellectual pursuits and makes me feel smart, you know,
Yeah.
and then I get lost in the debate.
Yeah. And then we're lost again.
Yeah.
Perfect place. True. Heart.
Mm,
Thanks, Chris.
yeah. Thank you, Chris. And so if you're doing this work alone, it's bypassing.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It'll take you so long to get out of your own box. You can't see it.
Mm, yeah. Well,
That was fun.
yeah, that was fun. Oh, so we'll
All
close it
right.
here. We'll wrap it up, bringing this to a close. You'll find us on YouTube, like and subscribe at Get Resourced, Facebook. We got a Facebook group, Get Resource Group for Conscious Co-Creating Relationships. And we just had our 2-day ultimate relationship event. Powerful, lots of great feedback. We plan on doing that again, but we also plan on doing one-off workshops, one-off free workshops, so that you can experience the concepts of conscious communication, which really boils down to the frameworks of nonviolent communication and so much more, right? Self-regulation, nervous system, inside out. Yeah.
Yeah. Brooke, you're welcome. Nice to see
Hey,
you.
bro. Yeah.
All right.
Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. Yes.
Okay. Good book. Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Thanks, Chris. All
All
right.
right. Ciao for now.
Bye, everybody. Happy Easter.